Hey, this is Tom from Agile Rocket, and I'm going to show you today how to create an iPhone app. It's going to be a very simple Hello World iPhone app. To get started, first of all, we need to download Xcode if you don't have that installed already. You can just open up the App Store, type in Xcode. There's Xcode. You can go ahead and click install here or download, whatever it is. I already have it installed, so it's already set up. Anyway, let's get started. So after you have it installed, go ahead and open up Xcode, and you're going to be presented with this little dashboard startup. You can go ahead and create a new Xcode project, and these are all templates. These are all just like kind of like starter. You always start with one of these. An empty application is just the bare bones, nothing, blank window. What we're going to do is we're going to go a single view application, and in this video I'm going to go the storyboard route. There's a couple of different routes you can do to create your application, and it depends on the application, and you'll kind of get that over time. It's depending on with UI creation. So if you want to go storyboard route, or if you want to go a thing called interface builder files, you can do that. I'm going to cover both. I'm going to cover in this one. This video. I'm only going to cover the storyboard route. I will create a separate video that will show you how to do it via the interface builder route, and very simple. But just don't worry about that for now. Let's go ahead and start up. So we're going to do a single view application right here, and the product name is just the title of the application. We're going to call it Hello World, and these will already be filled out for you, or you can type them in. Organization name, you can type your name, doesn't really matter. That's only for just like copyright stuff, whatever, for your application, doesn't matter. Bundle identifier, same kind of thing. I have my bundle identifier in there, no big deal. You can put yours in, whatever. It's to handle when you want to run it on your device. So you can follow, there's plenty of guides on that. I'll probably do another video later on about that, explaining that, but you can go online and read Apple's documentation about it. Class prefix, we're going to leave that blank for right now. Over time you'll get what that's for. It's very helpful, keeping your class names separate from Apple's or something like that, just so there's no conflict. More advanced, don't worry about that for now. Devices, you can choose iPhone or iPad or Universal. Universal is both, but we're just going to do iPhone right now. Keep it simple. And next, we're just going to save this to the desktop. And I'm going to make this big so we can see this entirely, full screen. Okay. So this is just kind of like a little about the project. Don't be intimidated here. Don't mess around here for right now. Later on, we'll get further into that. But just to start with, we're going to look at the interface, the standard thing. So right here, if you take a look at main.storyboard, this is kind of like an arrow basically signalizing, hey, the application enters here. So the first thing it launches, and then it comes to this view. So if we just run it straight up, we didn't write any code, nothing. And this is our simulator, and which will just kind of simulate an iPhone. Oh wow, there's our first app. Very simple, just a blank window, nothing special. So that's that. We're gonna get a little more detailed than that. So let me close that out and go back to Xcode. And to start with, this is our interface. So we can easily come over down here, and make sure you have objects selected. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a label on here. We're going to have two different labels actually. So let's go ahead and pull up a label called a UI label actually. To be precise, just drag it over, and we'll put it over up here. Let's go ahead and expand that. These little blue lines are just some guidelines, nothing special. So let's drag it over there. And let's go over here. This is like our properties here. So this kind of like states the properties of this item that's selected. Center it, this label. And let's go ahead and call it hello. Now, go ahead and bring that up a little bit. There we go. You can put whatever you want, but for right now, we'll do that. Let's drag another label. And let's do the same thing as we just did. And center that. And we're going to call this world. Okay. Let's go ahead and run it and see where we're at. All right, cool. Hello world. Very simple. But I'm sure you want to probably take this to another level and do something else. Let's come back. By the way, you can play and stop your application right here in Xcode. So if you want to run it here and then stop it here, it's fine. Just compiles the application, runs it in simulator. You can select which size of screen you want, the 3.5-inch screen. We're going to stick to the Retina 4-inch right here, which is the iPhone 5, 5S. Okay, so we have that so far. That's cool, but what if we want to have like a text field box here and a button, and when you type in something and then you click on the button, you know, this label will change. We'll change this to something like my name, whatever you type in the text field box. So let's put this at the very top because we got to have room to get rid of the keyboard. I'll show you how to dismiss the keyboard later on, but for right now, we need to make sure we have as much screen real estate as possible. So, because the keyboard will take up about that much of the area. So let's go ahead and grab a text field. So a text field is just like a text box. And let's go ahead and put that right about there. That sounds good. Drag that over and drag that over. Bring it up just a little bit more. Make sure we got plenty of room. Make sure we're above this arrow pretty much, because the keyboard's going to go to about there. Okay, so next thing we need is a button. You know, because you're going to type in that text field and you're going to press the button, and it's going to, you know, change that. So let's go ahead and do that. Button. So, and the button we're just going to call it enter. So just double click to go ahead and start typing in there and edit the text. So that's good so far. Let's center it. Here we go. So far we're good. Let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. So here we go. Okay. So we got our hello, we got our world, and we got our text box. So let's type in something. I'll just type my name in and see what happens. Oh man, nothing's going on. What's wrong with this? This is not good. Well, there's a problem here. We didn't do anything. We didn't program anything. All these are UI elements, and that's nothing special. So actually I want to bring this down too when we get back in there, just so it's not so crowded up here. But anyway, nothing's happening here. I hit return, nothing. I hit enter, nothing. I mean, I can type in text all I want, but you know, that's it. So let's go back. You can stop the application like this, kills the application. See how it's not running any longer? Okay. And let's go ahead and we need to get in the code of this. Okay. So what we can do is we can select this view controller, it's called. It's kind of like your view and your controller, which is basically what how you can control this, how you can interact in code with it. Let's go up here and let's see what the name of that. It's called a view controller. So it's attached to this class. Class is kind of just like a file attached to a class. It's like a blueprint of something. So anyway, in here in this class, we are going to look in this thing called view.load. There's a couple methods. Just ignore all this. This is fine for right now. This is just kind of goes where basically where you can lay out your variables, declare your variables, declare your class methods, and then inside this implementation file you can have all your methods and stuff. But don't worry, let's keep this simple. Please don't be intimidated. This is not that hard. But we'll start here. Just follow my directions here. So we have the storyboard, and like I said, I was going to move this down and this. Let's just bring this down a little and bring this down a little. Okay, cool. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to take, when we press this button, we want this text to show up here. So in code, to get a hold of these, when we press this button, we want a method to fire off. So let's go ahead and we click on this little butler icon up here in the middle. And the butler icon will go ahead and give us kind of a hybrid view of this. So we can easily, we see here's the code that we were using, and here's our interface builder file. It's actually a storyboard, my bad. And we'll go ahead and click on the button and right click on the button while holding down the right click, or you can hit, my bad, you can hold down Control and drag from that button. So hold down Control, click, left click on the button, drag over to here, and wherever you want to put the method. So we're going to go ahead and put it right here. And make sure it's set on action, which is by default. And we can call this button pressed. Okay. This is the argument it's going to pass in, which is just the button ID. So it's just an object, nothing. Don't worry about that, but just type in the method name. So hit connect. Okay. There is our method. Now what we want to do in this method is, for just right now, let's go ahead and let's just log out that we pressed the button. So in Objective-C and iPhone, we have this thing called nslog. So nslog, and it'll just automatically fill it in for you. And it's going to take in a string, an ns string. Ns string is just a string of characters, nothing special. But to declare an ns string, you have to have this @ symbol in the front, and then quotes. See, it's going to fill it in for me. Xcode's pretty smart. And since it's there, I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And inside that string, I can just delete it and type in button pressed. Now, at the end of this call as log, let's go ahead and put a semicolon because we have to end it. And that's it. So let's save it and let's go ahead and run it again and see what happens. So if we hit enter, what happens? Oh, nothing. Well, let's go look at the console. Oh, we pressed it twice? Yep, perfect. Just like we thought. Let's press it again. Yep, there it is. Okay, pretty simple. Okay. Now, what we'd like to do, though, is we'd like to actually, when we press the button, let's get this guy's text out of here. And let's replace it in here. Well, we have to have access to this guy. So we have to have access to this text label. We can come up here. Let's go to the header, because I didn't want to tell you how to do it wrong, and it's just better to go ahead and do it inside the header. So let's go ahead and hold down Control, drag it over here in between the interface, so above end. And it right away recognized that this is an element that we want to make as an outlet. We could choose as an action, make it every time you touch it, it hits something, but we don't want to do that. We just want to do an outlet. Outlet's basically a way I can access this item in code. So let's go ahead and call this, let's see, text field. So text field. As far as storage goes, it's weak or strong. That's like how it holds on, how it retains the item for memory usage stuff. Pretty much most of your elements in here will always be weak. So let's just leave it as weak. And let's hit connect. Okay. All right, so let's go back into code. Before we go into code, we actually need, oh my God. So once we're in the header file, let's see. So what we need to do is we need to get access to this text label in code. So how do we want to do that? Well, we need to create an outlet. An outlet is just a way of me getting a hold of this interface item, this user interface item. So let's come up here and let's switch to the header, because we're gonna declare it in the header. So here we are in the header, and let's go ahead and we need an outlet to it. So we need a way to grab it. And what we'll do is we'll hold down Control, drag over to it, and in between interface and end, so we need to make sure it's inside there, we go ahead and drag in there, drop it in there. So make sure it's above end. Could be a line above it, doesn't matter. Just needs to be above end and below interface. So let's go ahead and call this label. So it's an outlet. It's a type UI label, and it's weak. And this storage weak, strong is just a reference. It's for memory management stuff. Don't worry too much about that. Pretty much all the interface items will always be weak. We'll get into that a little later in another video, but this is how it starts. So let's go ahead and create that. Now we have access to this, but we also need access to this guy. We have a button. We're able to interface with it, but we can't. We got to actually get that text out of there. So let's do the same thing. Control, hold down Control, left click, drag over to it underneath here. We'll do it underneath the UI label, and let's call this text field. Whoops. And same thing. It's just need an outlet to it. Connect. And okay, so we have our two labels here, two outlets here to our items, and going back into the implementation file, .m, we have this button press. So let's go ahead and let's put whatever's in there into a string, an NS string. So let's type in NS string. There it is. Now you have to have this little asterisk, this little star before it. This little star before it needs to basically say that this asterisk needs to say, okay, hey, this is a pointer. And so let's go ahead and call this my text. Okay. And we're going to go and equal, because we're assigning it to it. We're going to call it, we need to get the text out of this guy. So what do we call this? We call this text field. So we need to call self, because that means that, hey, we're calling it on this class, because it's a global variable. So let's go ahead and call this self dot text field. There it is. And now we have access to that, but that's not in a string. We need the text from it. So dot text, and it can even tell you right here, it's in a string. Okay, and semicolon. So now that we have the text inside this object to send a string, it's going to throw up a warning because we're not using it right now, which we will be in a second, so don't worry about that. So let's go ahead and enter, bring it down one more, and let's set it to this guy right here, this label. So we have access to this label. So self dot, and this one is label. That's what we called it. And now we have a text as well, because it's the same thing. We need to set its text. We don't need to set it as a whole, because we have it in a string. So we need to set its text. So equals my text. There it is. Okay, save it. Whoops, highlighted everything. Command S, and let's go ahead and run it. Let's stop. I had left the other one running before, so hit stop. It may have not came up for you for stop. Okay, so let's go ahead and type this in. So let's go ahead and type my name in. Tom. I was using the keyboard, but you can do it here. And let's hit enter. Oh, look at that. It's changed. Whatever's in the text box. Cool. Very cool. Back this up, and we can type in, let's put it back to world. Whoops. Yeah. There we go, and let's enter. Oh, cool. So that's our application. So it's pretty simple. So that's it. And that'll conclude our tutorial. Check in the show notes and you can see another video, because I will do a separate video that will actually create the view controller class with a zip file, interface builder file. And that'll explain a little bit more on how to do it a little differently, but we'll do the same type of project. So Anyway, that's it. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll hopefully make more if I get some good feedback from you guys. But let me know. Let me know if I'm doing anything wrong or if you guys are happy with me. So, thanks.